Alright, before getting this video started, I want to personally shout out Atlus. Whether it's Persona 3 Reload, SMT5 Vengeance, Persona 4 Revival, or Persona 6, it feels like we always hear about their games early. Following one of the worst kept secrets online, Atlus and Persona fans tune into the Xbox Game Showcase anticipating Persona 4 Revival news and the long-awaited announcement for Persona 6. Calling this an announcement is a bit of a stretch though. Other than who are you, speculating about the atmosphere, and this cryptic message about occult-like things occurring on the website, there really isn't much to talk about. If I didn't know that this was Persona 6, I thought it would be like an enhanced version of Metaphor or a new Megaten game they're working on. Speculating about Persona 6 feels like pulling at straws, so let's talk about P4 Revival instead. Like Reload, I think this game looks great and they still have 8 months to go. U looks perfect in the first shot and the particle effects look great. I don't know if Soejima updated the portraits and worked on the key art, but I think it looks awesome as well. They're very faithful reimaginings of the source material. As Persona fans, I think we're very lucky to have P4's core development team still at Atlus. The fact that Hoshino is right down the metaphorical hall if you have a question during development is a luxury. Wit Studio, the studio behind Spy X Family, Vinland Saga, and Attack on Titan, are allegedly animating Revival's cutscenes. P4's original cutscenes were far more contemporary than its predecessor, so modernizing these really shouldn't be that big of a lift. I hope Atlus works with Kyoto Ani in the future because, and I can't really explain why, but I think they'd be a good fit together. The biggest shakeup I noticed in this trailer is how much darker Revival looks compared to the original. I'll explore this more in my P4 analysis video coming out soon, so make sure you're subscribed if you're interested. P4 is a brighter, bubblier, more optimistic game compared to the rest of Atlus's library. Its tone was a huge shift for Atlus at the time and could be felt in future titles. Revival, by comparison, looks much darker. And yes, this is the golden version I'm comparing it with. Don't be mad at me, be mad at Atlus for not porting the original Persona 4 or Fez to modern hardware. Looking at these scenes side by side, Revival's backgrounds are much more ominous. In this scene with Yosuke, for example, the backgrounds are soaked in a dark blue. There's a beautiful neon fluorescent blue emanating from the coolers, there are faint shadows cast from the bottles, volumetric fog surrounds the characters, and look at the darkness surrounding the still as Yosuke picks up the picture. When Chie confronts her shadow in Yukiko's dungeon, look at how ominous the background is and look at how well Chie's face is animated here. Instead of portraits and voice acting articulating this sense of bewilderment, her eyes are wide open and her eyebrows are raised as a shadow is cast over her face. This would be terrifying if we didn't know what she was looking at. When the camera jumps to the guys looking at her, we get the same ominous environmental tone from Kanishi Liquor. A darker contrast on the backgrounds, fog enveloping the room, the color of turquoise piercing the windows, and we get this spotlight over Chie as well. Her shadow looks really great too. If Chie's shadow is anything to go off of, I'm really excited to see how well the rest of them are animated. I'll have some footage in the back if you want to see Revival and Golden side by side. I think it's important to show just how tonally different these games are, which begs the question, are we going to have the inverse problem with Reload? One of the recurring criticisms Reload faced was with the neutered atmosphere. Fez had a deliberately darker tone meant to harmonize with the themes of the story. This absence is bright as day for fans of the original and has been practically removed for fans of Reload. I tackle this in depth in my P3 analysis, so feel free to check that out after this video. And no, I don't think a game isn't Persona 3 simply because it's missing the atmosphere. I'm bringing this up because Revival appears to have the opposite issue. If these scenes are anything to go off of, it really feels like Atlus is saying, hey, we're listening, and made Revival more unsettling. So are we going to say Revival is too dark now? I'm really curious how the community is going to react to this, and I'm just jealous that Reload didn't get this treatment. But then again, that's about in line with being a Persona 3 fan. Pain and agony. Speaking of listening to fans, between seeing Marie and the website confirming it, this is a full remake of the golden version of the game, and thank you, Atlus. Selling an expansion for a remake should be a violation of the Geneva Conventions. The answer was included in base Fez, and it should have been included in Reload. Doesn't Sega and Atlus make enough money from selling additional pre-orders, music, personas, and costumes? I don't get it, but maybe they're really listening this time around. Nevertheless, they're heading in the right direction, and I think that we should acknowledge that as a community. I'll throw something on the grill if they release an expansion for Metaphor instead of just doing a full-on re-release. Oh yeah, some of the screenshots you guys have been looking at are from the official website, which I'll have the link in the description below. Revival also features new voice actors. We've known this for some time now, but Shihoko Hirata and Shoji Meguro aren't returning. I think we need to hear more of the new soundtrack, but I have complete faith in Ryoto Kazuka. This man blessed us with SMT5 Vengeance's soundtrack, which I consider to be one of Atlus's best pieces of work. For those who haven't played SMT5 Vengeance, I think we're in good hands, but then again, we're talking about Persona 4's soundtrack. P4 and 5 soundtracks are up there with Square Enix's work in my opinion, and as wild as it is to say, Persona soundtracks are every bit as important to their identity as gameplay, themes, and story. I'm not envious of anyone who's tasked with reimagining them. We also saw a bit of the combat and dungeon crawling as well. First things first, I really love the updated UI and how the combat wheel is an old school TV dial. It's a cool homage to P4's TV aesthetic and demonstrates Atlus's continued brilliance in the UI department. I wish I could find the interview, but I think Ashino in the past said that all this UI stuff takes a ton of time, and yeah man, I wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, when I slowed the footage down, I realized that U was actually guarding an attack and countering. It's cool that they added a block button, but let's be honest, a parry would have just been cooler, just throwing that out there. There's also this new bar beside the character portraits. The website says it activates prime time when it's full and says, during this mode you get a series of consecutive actions, all skill costs are eliminated, enemy resistances are ignored, and baton pass is freely available. Top it all off with a flashy series finale that deals massive damage. Given how much Atlus reworked Reload's combat, none of this should come as a surprise. P4's combat definitely needs a bit of an overhaul, but I don't think we need to make the combat any easier. If they kept the gameplay as is and improved the dungeons, that would have been more than enough in my opinion. Before wrapping this video up, Persona 4 Revival looks promising. I'm not a huge fan of remakes, as you all probably know by now, and I still think Revival looks good. Golden holds up very well, and I'd say to check that out if you can't wait until February. It's also worth mentioning that modernizing Persona 4 is far easier than its predecessor. The margin for error is much smaller with 4 than it was for 3. It doesn't have to worry about the tactics system, FemC, or preserving the darker overall tone in a UE5 world. I know this is an oversimplification, but all we want is a tighter opening and improved dungeons. That's it. If those are improved and there's some friction in the game design, which Primetime has me worried about, then I'll remain cautiously optimistic. Lastly, and I know this game is almost 20 years old as of writing this, let's please be mindful about spoilers for the next couple of months. A new generation is about to experience one of the community's favorites, and we wouldn't want to rob them of that experience. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed this brief little reaction trailer thing. I've been talking about it on Blue Sky and in the Discord and on Twitter, but I want to do some more like reaction or like initial thoughts or impression videos about the industry, maybe some more stuff about Persona and just other games that, you know, catch my interest, just so I can keep content flowing on the channel in addition to streams. And if you do happen to show up to the stream, shout out to y'all. Before I keep going, a huge shout out to the Domain Dwellers for supporting my creative endeavors. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting my efforts by becoming a channel member or subscribing on Twitch, where you'll receive early video access, a special Discord role, access to my scripts and outlines, emotes, and more. Also, feel free to join the Discord where we talk about everything from games to TV to music, anime, or everything, really. And feel free to stop by the channel when I'm streaming or catching me on Twitch. You can feel free to watch me wherever, and you can also catch all the past VODs in the past live streams playlist. And they're there so I don't flood everybody's sub boxes all the time, because that is very annoying. Now, a few questions before I get out of here. So what did you guys think of the trailer? Are you excited for Persona 4 Revival? Do you think Persona 4 needed a remake? What would you like to see change in Persona 4? Are you worried about the soundtrack and voice actors? What do you think of Persona 6? And which is your favorite Persona game? Thanks again for watching. Feel free to join the Discord if you want to talk. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll check in with y'all in the next one.